Well, Dr. Dave back here with you again. I told you I was going to bring you some videos on the Zodiac Killer's letters and handwriting analysis based on the things that he told me back in the 70s and the things that he showed me on his letters, and D.B. Cooper also. And so what I have left to tell you today is not that complicated, and I can go through it very briefly. And remember, it's about the clues that Frank Morris put on his letters, his D.B. Cooper letters, his Zodiac Killer letters, his letter to the Warden of Alcatraz, clues that he put on there, mostly to his identity. And I say it was because he was a megalomaniac, on top of being schizophrenic and paranoid and a serial killer, and worst of all, necrophiliac. I still have some really good stories to tell you about him standing looking at what appeared to be dead bodies and indulging with things while the Anglin brothers went around the store stealing things. But I'm not ready for that yet. It's very intense in the necrophilia thing. So take a look at these cards and letters. First one. We're going to run through these quickly. There's a lot of things in here that are important. I don't remember everything that Frank told me, but I'm going to show you things I do remember. On this letter, which is about the Red Phantom letter, which they said he didn't write, then they said he did, and he did, and he did. Well, Frank told me he wrote it, and he showed it to me. He said there was significance in him putting lines, letters going below the line of where the words were at. I don't remember what he said about it, but I think he said he just did it to, I don't know, confuse the officials, I guess. But the important thing about this one, this letter that I remember, is this right here. See the C? See the C? And he asked me, why would that go below the line? And I said, I don't know. And he goes, well, why would they connect? And I said, I don't know. And he goes, well, you got to kind of turn things around and it'll make more sense. And I didn't know what he meant, so we went on to something else. But yeah, turn things around. There's the big M for Morris. This may or may not be important, but this is that bus bomb thing that he made, or one of his bomb things. He writes figure with two letters here, and the first one looks like a Y, the second one looks like a G. There's significance in that, but I don't remember what it was. I think he said there was something about this K that was important. But that's all I have on that one. Okay, now here's another one. It's one of his letters. I don't know, about shooting somebody with Western ammo, Super X Western ammo. But he tells them about this murder at Christmas time. And look how he writes Christmas. M-A-S-S at the end. You know, he brought that to my attention, and I go, yeah, okay, so what's it about? And he goes, well, it's about Mass. And I'm like, Mass? And he goes, yeah, what kind of church do they have Mass in? And I go, Catholic Church. And he goes, yeah, it's about Christ Mass. But that's not important, so later we're going to X out Christ because he's not important. The reason he's saying that is because he's satanic. But the reason he put that on here was to give people a key, a clue to what his religion was, because his religious preference is Catholic. This is a letter to the Chronicle, the envelope, SF Chronicle. I just look at that F and I think he's thinking Frank. And when you look down here, San Fran. I think the Fran stands for Frank. Now this is another one of his letters. I've deciphered this signature for you so that you know what that stands for. It's on one of my videos. I'll put a link in here to it. That is a dot. It's Morse code. One dot in Morse code is an E. I think that stands for Lee. This is his typical male gamete that he uses to tell you that he's a necrophiliac. him and the Anglin brothers would kill people and then have their little orgiastic thing going on at the same time and afterwards. How disgusting. Some people actually might have got to watch them do this while they were killing that person, and died and never were able to tell anyone about it. Here's another good one. Paul Averly. This is another envelope from a Zodiac letter. Now he puts this line under here to confuse the officials and to get them focused on this part of the word, but the important part is right there. He takes the word Avery, he puts an L in it to make it sound like Averly, because Lee is his middle name. Frank Lee Morris. Here's another interesting envelope. Frank uses the word San Fran to stand for San Francisco. And I don't think that was very common back then, and I don't think it ever has been. I could be wrong about that. But here you will see CLA where he spells California incorrectly. But the important thing I want you to see here is I think the reason he put this way is Fran with a C spells Frank. Frank Lee Morris. Here's another one that he showed me and he told me about, and the only thing I can remember is that he was kind of laughing, which Frank rarely did because he was usually in anger mode. He thought it was funny because he mailed this from someplace near the LA Times, and he told him to rush it, airmail. He thought that was a big joke because, you know, like hurry up because I want you to or something, I don't know. Here's the San Fran we see again. F-R-A-N-C, Frank. Frank Lee Morris. This letter, I believe, he told me that he had someone else write it to confuse the officials, law enforcement again. That is his handwriting, but I don't think this is. But he told me that when he wrote in cursive, it looked completely like a different person's writing, so that might have been what he was talking about there. That R kind of resembles some of the things that he does with an R. Piece of trash that he scratched on a desktop about Sherry Joe Bates. I think I already showed you that the RH was the initials of the president of the school where he was in the library, and he put that on there so that people would think that the president killed her. But the way he wrote the R and the H, if you turn it like this looks like a F. And if you turn it like this, and if you look really closely, right there's a little bitty line at the bottom of it to make it look like an F. And when you turn this like this, it kind of looks like an M. So I think that's Frank Morris's initials. He hallucinated them out of this other guy's initials. Here, we're back to the thing of bringing the letters down below the lines. There's significance in it. I don't remember what it is. But maybe some of you guys out there, code breakers, can figure some of this out. Riverside Police Department. I believe this is a D.B. Cooper letter. P-L-O-I-C-E, but he spells it like P-D-I-C-E. He's telling you something about paradise because he put the word paradise on the Halloween card and he spelled it D-I-C-E at the end. And he made some kind of a big deal to me about the, you know, paradise spelled like that had something to do with dice, a roll of the dice or whatever. I guess, you know, whoever gets to die next is just a roll of the dice. But here's one I'll never forget. Frank had me sitting at a table and he's looking over my shoulder. And he reads this thing slowly, and as he gets further and closer to the end, he gets more and more turned on. And he goes, "What does that look like there?" an Old Norse word meaning kill, a friend. And I go, well, it looks like you signed it like you were somebody's friend. And he goes, yeah, but the important part is right here. Kill a friend. And he just kept reading that over, kill a friend. And every time he read it, he got more and more excited. I didn't get it, but now I get it. He was talking about he was going to kill me because I was his friend. And he wrote this to let people know that he made friends with people before he killed them. So all of the people that he killed were his friends. Nice way to say thank you to your friends. Here is another good example of Frank and his ID. He told me his ID's on everything he ever wrote. Look at that. Why is there a little line right there? Okay? Because that's an F and it stands for Frank. There's a reason he wrote December, D-E-S instead of D-E-C, but I cannot remember what it was. Here's a better picture of that Christmas letter. You can see Christ Mass here and Christ Mass here. There's a couple of things down here with the Y's and this fry down here that he put F-R-Y instead of F-R-I, instead of F-R-I. There's some significance to that and these Y's, but I don't remember what it is. Just a few more things that Frank Morris told me about how to identify him through his many letters. I think I know why Frank put single dots like this one on a lot of his letters. And a single dot in Morse code signifies the letter E. And Frank was able to see his entire middle name in that E, L-E-E. You see, there's an L. And when you put these two in, you have an E. So L-E, and then one more E, that's Lee. So that's why he plays games with the letter E throughout all of his cards and letters. Thank you very much for watching.